Yeah, I was working that day.
How many hours do you work a day? Not every day you don't work 8 hours.
No, average I work
You have off
13.
Okay.
That day I was working a 13-hour day.
Okay.
John, let me ask you, do these folks have reason to be concerned about you?
They all have reason to be concerned about me. I mean, it's in my past, it's in my actions.
You won't leave her alone. You couldn't leave her alone to be interviewed. Are you that afraid of her?
No, I'm not.
Are you afraid of her she'll speak her mind or the truth will come out?
She can speak her mind even with me sitting here.
Really?
No.
Then why didn't you let her get interviewed alone?
Because I wanted to be there, because
Why?
it was about us being together. That's what this
That's not about being together. You're afraid of her individuality. You're afraid she can actually say something that'll hurt you.
I just want to say I was very honest in my interview, and nothing with him sitting there. I didn't.
But Kirsten's not normal.
You've come to us how many times saying you're afraid of him? That's why you stay.
Your
yes,
words.
I've been afraid of him.
Your
You
words.
love him, but you hate him as much as you love him.
Yes, I do.
Why do you
He
keep
knows
going
that.
back to him? You bawled to me on my couch. Why do I keep going back to him, Mom? Why can't I stop?
Because I'm stuck. I mean,
I
I'm
told
not
you I didn't
stuck.
know.
Your option's here. It's not there. That's stuck.
You don't need to be controlled.
That's not leaving an option.
You're being controlled.
What's not
Why is it not an option?
Saying that her option is there and this is not an option, that's cutting off options.
You cut off
Should be an option
She
for
can't
her
have
should be
friends.
an option for her should be whatever she decides.
Okay, are you a reasonable option?
At the moment, right now, no. I have problems that I need to work on.
Okay, then why are you in this relationship?
I want to stay in the relationship. I want to work through it.
Even though it's not in her best interest?
This is the same relationship
it might
that
not
you
be in
keep
her
throwing
best
her out.
interest.
Is that the relationship you want? You get mad and you throw her out of the car?
Whenever we have an argument and she breaks up with me and decides to run
And you
off,
throw her out.
When she's
I
walking
throw her
down
out.
the street and you pick her up,
no
throw her in the
phone,
back seat and
no
take off
nothing.
with her, and she said if she would have had her cell phone, she would have called 911 for kidnapping.
Well, see, I'm
When you
concerned.
barricaded her in a bedroom and locked her in a bedroom, wouldn't let her out, and she had to scream for help, and she had to run to the neighbors and call me after you texted me and said, get her out of
I
here.
wanted to speak to her, and I
You throw
sat
her
in front
clothes
of the
outside and
door
text me and
playing
know my
a
brother's
game on
wedding?
cell phone while she trashed the room.
No, I think you
There's
ripped her
the
clothes
pictures of
down
it.
first.
Does
I
this,
didn't take anything down.
Okay.
let me interrupt here for a second. Y'all don't need me here to bicker. Do you think this is reasonable?
No.
Because he agrees he's not a good candidate. You agree he's not a good candidate. They agree he is not a good candidate. So give me your logic.
I've tried to leave him several times, but a lot of the times I think about all the good times.
Right?
I mean, he is my best friend. He does do a lot for me. I mean, yeah, when times are good, they're good. And when they're bad, they're bad. Really bad.
What has he done for you? I'm the one paying for the doctor visits. For the baby, he's not. He gets money from his dad every Thursday.
He has told me he would pay for that.
Do you have furniture in your apartment?
You told us we were paying for that, and yes, now we do have furniture in our apartment.
I want to find out how these two have interacted with us since they were booked on the show. We'll be right back.
I feel very isolated. My life now has become just John and I.
I say, Kirsten, you're his puppet. He has complete control over you.
He has brainwashed her, and I see a girl now that just bows down to this awful man. I tried to get Kirsten into counseling. She went to 2 appointments, and then she took off and went back to John.
I thought she wanted to get me into counseling to help me be stronger and have a healthier mindset. It was actually to tear John and I apart. The counselor told me that I should leave John, that he will kill me.
We've been talking to Kirsten's family about Kirsten's boyfriend and father to her future baby. Now, her mother, Katrina, says her eyes were open wide when she learned the full extent of John's criminal history.
Recently, I went to the courthouse, and I found out a lot more than what John originally told me.
I believe John deserves a second chance. People need to stop judging John and be more open-minded.
John was arrested for burglary, false statements, breaking a PFA.
One time when I was talking to John, he did mention, don't be alarmed if someone comes to you and says anything about raping any girls, because it's not true.
I've done close to 10 years incarcerated. I was 19 when I first went to jail for criminal mischief. I did 5 months. I got the very original sentence, 6 months to 7 years. I violated, I think twice I went back for 18 months to 2 years. I think that's why I'm as aggressive as I am. I'm in the process of turning my life around.
I'm not judging him from his past. He had a chance to prove to me that he was a good person, that he was changed, man. He has not changed one bit.
You used the word, you said, that's why I'm so aggressive. What do you mean aggressive?
By aggressive, I mean the way that I'm protective or I'm over-controlling, or pretty much whenever you're incarcerated, everything that you care about, you have to fight for.
You've done close to 10 years, and you're only 30.
Yeah.
So most of your adult life, you have been in prison. And several of those times you've been in prison because you got out of prison and they said, here are the rules to follow while you're out. And you couldn't follow those rules, correct?
No, I couldn't.
John's been very controlling since we booked you guys on the show. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
He tried installing an app on her phone to record all of her activity, calls and texts. You aware of that?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Overly watched.
He had to be home when she sent physical abuse pictures in order to see what was sent. Correct?
No, I was not home for those pictures. The pictures that I had to be home for was the pictures that had property damage inside of the apartment.
Texted the show from Kirsten's phone and said, we are requiring a female interviewer for the field shoot.
I think he told me to do that when we were laying in bed at the time.
So
and
he
I said,
told
okay,
you
I'll
to do it?
Yes, he did tell me to do
He
it.
uses her phone quite often.
That's how I
and
found out
talks
she was
for her.
pregnant.
Oh, this is Kirsten.
You started an argument minutes into Kirsten's pre-interview. The AP heard fighting and then the phone went dead, correct?
Correct.
That's
so you
correct.
wanted to disrupt the process.
That's correct.
After the fight, John said he couldn't be separated from Kirsten while doing anything for the show. John has backed out of the show at least 5 times, says he's doing the show because he loves you.
He wants 15 minutes
Minutes
of fame.
I wouldn't even be here if it
You
wasn't.
said it.
You said it.
Those were your words.
Yes,
Those are my
you
words.
did.
I don't care.
I don't even want to be on this show.
You know
Seriously?
what's weird is when she wrote in, they weren't together, so she wrote in to get help, to get away and stay away. But it wasn't even 4 days later that they got back
I
together.
got more help. I felt like I was falling apart. I was extremely depressed. I know I do love this man, but I knew there was really big problems.
He is the only thing allowed to be in her life.
You have been physically abusive with her?
I have, yes.
And what did you do to her?
I've grabbed her by the arm. I've put my hand on her neck. I've pushed her on the bed.
You kicked her out in the middle of the night with no bra, no shoes on, no phone. You kicked
That's
her.
not physically abusive.
Tell them about the bruise on your
Taking
arm
her
the
out at
size
night.
of
You
the
let a
That's
softball.
17-year-old out at 3 a.m. in the morning, hiding in a parking lot, calling
How
her
many
friends
times has she
scared.
just ran out of the
Her
apartment?
phone's
like,
down.
We don't know.
How many times
how
did you
many
knock the
times?
door down at the beach? You knocked the door down and took the phone that
Good,
was
step
I
me
paid
down.
for and broke the phone, smashed it.
Well, I made a list, actually, of abuse.
You're real
That-
cool, John.
I made a list of John's abusive behavior according to you. This is what you told us, that he has hit the brakes, causing Kirsten's head to slam into the dash. And he would do that repeatedly, right?
Yeah.
He'd be like
Yes.
that, just keep going and keep going. True?
That's true.
Is there any other piece of information that you need to have that this man does not have your best interest at heart, that he goes into a rage and loses control of himself?
I know he does that. It's just, like I said, it's very hard for me. Like, I've left him multiple times and I've fallen right back.
Okay, but you understand that's not normal.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
Yes, I do
He's
understand.
grabbed Kirsten's throat and pushed her against the side of the car, locked her in the bedroom for trying to visit Grandma without him. Kirsten screamed for help before released. He bit Kirsten's lip, then bruised her arm and dug his elbow into her arm and says, "How does that feel?" Threw a bucket of ice and a bucket of water on Kirsten and threatened her with another bucket of water unless she joined him in bed. How is that okay with you?
It's not.
Well, apparently it is. because you continue to be with him, which means you're enabling him. You're not helping him, you're enabling him to abuse you.
Kirsten, it's not normal.
I know.
You know it's not.
So why do you stay?
You don't need to be with him. You don't need it.
Look what